On February 2020, New York Toy Fair, a new line of action figures was unveiled to the public for the first time. It was a return to greatness for a storied brand that we all know and love as G.I. Joe for the first time ever in 6-inch scale. And now, today, in honor of 𝐁𝐥𝐤 𝐆𝐞𝐬, we are going to go in depth in the history of G.I. Joe classified series. Folks, you're watching Black Genghis Live. Welcome to Black Genghis Live in honor of Joe Fest, which kicks off this weekend, and being knee deep in 𝐁𝐥𝐤. I decided to talk about my favorite line, the one that got me back into collecting during a modern day plague, and one that introduced me to a good group of folks in a community that I know and love very well. I have been looking forward to doing an episode like this for a very long time. So first, let me say hello to everybody joining us today. Shout out to MIS1. Thanks for joining. Keith, thanks for joining us today, man. Don't forget to check out KB Jodagrabs on Instagram. Shout out to the homie Chad. What's up, man? Yes, let's go. And shout out to DJ 5Ash. Thank you so much for joining. All right, let's go ahead. Oh, safe travels to Joe Fest. And anyone watching this on replay, if you're going to Joe Fest, safe travels as well and have an excellent time. Let's go ahead and let's get right into it. So, with G.I. Joe Classified series, we didn't really know what to expect, right? We haven't seen a Joe line since Resolute, since the Retaliation figures, which hit shelves a year before the film because the film got pushed back for 3D. Don't really want to get into it. And of course, Collectors Club and everything else. If you were lucky, you could find some pics on Entertainment Earth or Big Bad Toy Store that still had Collectors Club figures for sale, even though the prices had inflated. But with classified series, what had happened was you've had the success of Marvel Legends, Star Wars, the Black Series, and other 6-inch toy lines that were emulating video games like Overwatch. And later on, we would see Hasbro attempt with Fortnite, which at the time was with Jazzwares. But with G.I. Joe, this was something new. And this was something that caught a lot of people's attention. So I'm very proud of my checklist. And it was my pleasure to put together something like this, where I just wanted to see where all the different figures were, right? Like what we had gotten since the start of the line. Shout out to FC Viper. Thanks for joining us. Selena says 2018 was the last year's Collectors Club. Thank you very much for that. So once again, this checklist has been available on Instagram for the last few years, and I update it whenever we get a big reveal from 𝐁𝐥𝐤 or Comic-Con or PulseCon or anything like that. And I always look forward to it. And so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go through the history of G.I. Joe Classified series, more or less as told by the checklist itself. It's my crowning achievement online, and I'm still very proud of it. EJ, thank you very much. You're far too kind. Thank you so much for that. And I'm also going to, at the end of the episode, take a look towards the future, to next year, 2025. I can't believe we're 2025. We're halfway there, folks, and beyond. So as you can see, the line has really taken shape, and it's just a really exciting time. If you're still collecting the line, whether you're a completist or not, if you're cherry picking, there's a lot of good stuff to be had. And once again, I am really been looking forward to really diving in about this line, what it meant to me, what it ended up becoming, and really not just the Joe community, but really the toy community and the ins and outs of that. So I'm really proud of collecting this line, as can be seen here. Shout out to the homie Snake Eyes, but also just the friends I've made along the way. So without a moment to lose, let's break it down into year one. So early days, right? You can already see your neurons firing, right? We had the original Snake Eyes Deluxe. Then we had the figures that took a lot of cues from the Operation Blackout game. And then we'll see later that they had field variants and regal variants, right? The Snake Supreme, Prophet Director, like a lot of good stuff. That Baroness, I have horror stories about trying to get that Baroness, but we'll touch into all that later. If not for that Baroness, I would not be a member of Toy Kind of Mood. I wouldn't have met Travis Moody in the flesh. And I'm really proud to have known these guys and still be able to call them friends. And even though a good number of them are on the way to Joe Fest, I wasn't able to join this year, but I wish them well. And they're going to have a great time. They're going to have a great panel. Keith, thank you so much. I really appreciate that, man. And yes, shout out to anyone who finds anything out in the wild. I feel like it's always really special when you're toy hunting and you find that stuff. But let's go ahead and let's go to 2020, New York Fair 2020. Now, they had debuted the line for distributors, retailers, just to pique their interest. Hey, they were probably already selling Marvel Legends thanks to the MCU. They were already had Star Wars Black Series. By this point, the sequel trilogy, it did what it did, but it got people interested back in the Star Wars. And then they had the opening of the Galaxy's Edge and whatnot. So long story short, people were collecting more 6-inch figures, and the adults were really getting back into it. In time, adult collectors would end up being the largest segment of people getting these action figures, but that will come later. As you can see here, G.I. Joe was a brand that lived and died from anticipation, from hype. So they needed to make a big splash and do it big, especially with the media they had right behind it, Snake Eyes, G.I. Joe Origins. More on that later. This figure is really responsible for setting classified series off in the right path. And the Hasbro Pulse exclusive. At the time, a lot of collectors may or may not have been familiar with Hasbro Pulse. I think Hasbro Pulse was known as something else, Hasbro Toy Shop. I could be wrong. But the point is that by doing these exclusives, that's what got people aware of this line that was coming out. I remember watching videos of the artists who did this amazing work, seeing Lenny Penzica for the first time. And I remember he was talking about how excited he was to be bringing this line back. I was like, it's crazy that G.I. Joe had been dormant for so long. I still thought that they did a decent job with the live action movies. They weren't perfect, Rise of Cobra and Retaliation, but it was fun to still celebrate that as a Joe fan. And then Resolute. Oh man, I love Resolute. Hold on a second. I love G.I. Joe Resolute. I could get a full subline of classified 6-inch figures based on G.I. Joe Resolute. More on that later. Anyway, back to Snake Eyes Deluxe. So yeah, this was really a stake in the ground, like really planting their flag and saying, this is what classified series is going to be, and it's going to be amazing, and this is your chance to get in on the ground floor. I did not get this figure until PulseCon 2020, and I lucked out. I lucked out that they had a small batch, and I just pulled that trigger, like Jason S. said. Yeah, man, I was really glad to get my hands on it. And also, I hear what you're saying about refusing to collect the line. Yeah, there was just these big touch points where people just jumped on. Dude, I love Resolute so much. I can't even right now. But the point is, with showing off what you could do with photography and what you could do with a 6-inch figure versus a 3 3/4 figure. At the time, Retro Collection was in Walmart. So you had 4-inch figures. So they were just a little bit bigger than the 3 3/4. And it was modern articulation, not O-ring. There was like a bit of a war going on with Joe fans at the time. And a lot of people, they weren't really ready for 6-inch Snake Eyes or a 6-inch classified. They wanted O-ring back, and that was the fight. It was like, we're going to have this pressure campaign towards bringing the O-ring back against Classified. A lot of Joe fans, I was a member of Mojo's was not friendly towards Classified for the longest time. But when you look at this stuff, it's like it just got your synapses firing, right? I started looking at dioramas, extreme sets, 12 World, so on and so forth. And it's like there's so much fun that you could do. You just have basically your own mini production studio and bring your favorite characters and favorite scenes to life. They made a very, very strong case for it. So once again, the deluxe Snake Eyes was really responsible for that front push towards how well received Classified was. And without this, you don't really have what Classified is today here in the middle of 2024. Like, that's how great this figure was. And we'll see this mold time and time again. In fact, I even have these molds right here. And these molds they're important for making the line last longer. And so here we have the original Snake Eyes you can get for retail, right? Mine didn't have the red dot. Oh wait, it does. It does have the red dot. It does have the red dot, right? But that was a running change. And then you have this one that came with the commandos, not the Alpha Commandos, but the White Wolf Timber. It's exactly the same figure. It's just that's the part of the legacy of G.I. Joe. You see what just color variants can do for your photos, for other Joes that you have with them and whatnot. And I have a couple of other examples like this. But once again, and even the Desert Commando Snake Eyes, like it's the exact same figure. It's the exact same figure as that deluxe Snake Eyes, as I was showing off in all these great photos. The point is that reuse has been a part of G.I. Joe since the beginning. Those OG-13 figures, a lot of them were the same figure. A lot of them were different characters, but with the same face sculpt, only because it was still in 3 3/4. So it just really depends. Anyway, let's go ahead and get back to it. Todd C., thanks for joining us, man. Hopefully you enjoyed the episode. Let's get back to it. So once again, this deluxe Snake Eyes, it was just a shot across the bow as far as like, this is what we're going to do. We're going to load this stuff with accessories. We would see a lot of these accessories time and time again. Red Ninja, Blue Ninja, other Ninja characters, right? We haven't seen that weapons rack. Even if we don't have that cool design, it would be cool. It would be really cool to get that weapons rack back, or just a weapons rack back. But more on that later, especially for the, never mind. I think we have a little bit of a weapons rack with the His tank, so there is that. But the point is that you got a really great showing from the Joe team from the very start. They were in it to last. The artwork that you got with it, the covering, it's like, it's fantastic. It was great. Shout out to Zen. Hey, man, thanks for joining us. Thank you very much. And I hope you had a safe flight. Have fun this weekend, man. Enjoy Joe Fest. Yeah, this is my crown jewel of my classified collection. I have this buried deep in the recesses of my apartment. I have not opened up that figure. I am not going to open up that figure. I don't need to. It's friggin' awesome. And from getting this, I'd already gotten some of the other figures from GameStop. It was fantastic. And I was like, okay, I got to get everything classified series. I'm in. I am down. I'm getting everything. I was able to get this PulseCon 2020. I have not looked back since. I am pleased as punch. So the thing is, oh yeah, people were getting a lot of knockoffs. The thing about classified was that it was also very scarce. And it was tricky because they didn't really want to make a lot of moves without media. So if you didn't have media, then they were just going to say, okay, we're not going to put everything into this. Although I think that was a mistake. And I think they would have been just fine if they had decided to take a chance on these figures and just doing the figures the way they should have been. So if you remember, Operation Blackout, that was the media they had at the time. That was the thing that they were riding on. Kids are playing video games. They're not really playing with toys. So we need to find an in-between. They're playing Minecraft. They're playing Fortnite. So what's that video game that we can do to get them interested in this? And for a time, like I have Operation Blackout, and it was fun. I even have the art of Operation Blackout. It just really depends. I think that I understand why they wanted to say, hey, we need to get these kids on board. Kids are the future of classified. So we need to make sure, or they're the future of the Joe brand. They still weren't really looking at adult collectors. They were like, we already have the adult collectors. We don't really need to do much else. But as you can see, it was really the adult collectors. They're like, you really have to do this for us. We're the ones that want this. We're the ones who believe in the brand. We're the ones who are going to get these figures. So wave one, it wasn't really as well received as some of the others, right? And it was like, what's the best way to say this? Gaudy, right? And it's tricky because you want people to say, I'm a Joe fan. I'm going to get these figures no matter what. But sometimes there were just certain things where they made it difficult to do that. So what do I mean by that? Well, I guess what I mean is if you have a figure like Roadblock, right? So here's Roadblock. And I defended it. I defended this figure. I was like, yeah, it's fine. It's futuristic. But once again, they leaned really hard into the aesthetic of Operation Blackout. And so this was really a key difference between what we were getting even in Collectors Club, 25th anniversary, even the movie figures with Rock Block, Pursuit of Cobra, Retaliation. For a lot of people, a lot of fans, this was not their Roadblock. This was a Roadblock, but it wasn't the Roadblock. So already, we're kind of off to a pretty interesting start. And you can argue that they sort of left themselves a hill to climb, or ice skate upward. Jason Ness is saying, yes, they struggled to split the difference between something all new, something nostalgic. And of course, you can see we were able to get the wait, what was that in? Oh, Roadblock is back? Oh, what do you mean by that? That's where we got the field variant from, right? So once again, the field variant was a course correction, and Roadblock was really key. Like that figure, more than a lot, that one needed to be redone. So let me go ahead and show you that. Yes. Oh boy. I could do another video on the history of Gridiron, but that will be some other time. Once again, the field variant. So the field variant, otherwise known here as the filed variant, be nice, was a much needed course correction. And that was the point where it's like, okay, we need to reconfigure this so that people reinvest in this. So you can see where they muted down the golds. And even though it still had that futuristic railgun, the colors were toned down just a little bit. So it just had a bit more green to it, right? So that was really smart. So once again, here are the tale of two Scarlets. So here's wave one Scarlet. And then here is the field variant with the Origins head sculpt. More on Origins later. So once again, same figure, same accessories, all the way down to the boots. And the field variant still has a bit of the color, right? But you can already see a difference. And you can already see that Classified was willing to get better. They were getting better at this. It was just going to take time, right? So once again, the history of reuse in G.I. Joe, it allows for course corrections, it allows for improvements, and allows for evolution. And it saves money because you already have the molds, you already have the tooling, you change the colors, you tweak it, and then you go ahead and you have fun with your face. Zen has a good point. Yeah, that Naga hide is gung-ho Roadblock. I think that was a mistake. The line's been doing very well. We could have used something else, something new. But once again, the point is that they were willing to make a change. They were able to take a figure like Duke that people knew and loved, and then make those changes. And if you don't get those changes, you don't get year 3, year 4, year 5. You needed to be willing to adapt. And I think that was key. Even though, and it's weird because I think people still like the Duke because my Duke sold at a pretty good price. Once again, here is Duke in this backpack. We're still seeing this backpack with Airborne all the way. Like, if you have the tooling and if it works, then use it. So some figures are better than others. Once again, those sci-fi weapons, once again, birth of Gridiron. And they had to be careful. They couldn't be using M14s or Kalashnikovs or anything like that. So they wanted to keep that sci-fi Operation Blackout aesthetic. But once again, once we got the field variants, that helped out a lot. And if not for those field variants, we would probably be talking about classified series in the past since like, oh man, what could they have done differently? Wow, could they have, so I think it's really great to see the love that the Joe team had for this line, that they were willing to take a chance and say, okay, let's go ahead and evolve this. Let's do something else. Let's go ahead and keep this line alive. So now let's go a little bit deeper into year 1 real quick. And that means talking about COVID. We need to talk about the effect that the pandemic had on collectors and on collecting. A lot of us became collectors during COVID, during the pandemic, during lockdown, because we couldn't do much else. Shout out to the homie Chad. Yes, please hit that like button. If you like what you see, please share a like. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you very much. Shout out to the homie Vlad. Thanks for joining, dude. Yes, it is a great sculpt. And yes, a lot of people use that movie Scarlet for their redheaded cover girl. Okay, yeah. People like the field variant better than that retro dude. Although I do like the diaphragm joint. Yeah, we're firing some shots. And yes, they were very quick. Yes. Hey, you know what? I like my Wave 1 Duke too. I like the field variant even more. But long story short, we got to talk about the pandemic. So, no vaccine, people wearing masks, and they don't have like the N95, KN95 masks. They have cloth masks. I'm riding the bus. If people coughed or sneezed, I got off that bus. And now I'm toy hunting like crazy. But I'm meeting people in the aisles because, one, a lot of us, we just needed something to do. The world had shut down. No movies. We had watched everything on Netflix. We needed something to do. What are we going to do? They got these new Joes. I'm going to go ahead and try and get these. I'm going to go to Target at 6 o'clock in the morning, 5:30 in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. And I'm going to try to get these Joes. And we were getting some. We were getting a lot too. People are showing love to some of their early favorites. Yeah. Duke was a good figure. Duke's a good figure. Keep those. Keep all those, or flip them. At least get your money's worth. You're going to flip them. But it was tricky. It was tricky getting into G.I. Joe classified at the time because you weren't just racing other collectors or other fans. You were racing a virus. You were racing against a virus. And if you weren't careful, you can find yourself getting very sick just because you wanted to collect action figures. That's not the way to do it. And none of us wanted that. Yeah, man. Yeah, shout out to Vlad. So when it came to joining Toy Kind of Mood, I made fast friends with Travis, and then I got introduced to everybody in the chat group we were part of a group at the time. And I was like, it was just great meeting other fans. And not only that, but just really smart, savvy people, artistic people, funny, hilarious people. And we've been friends ever since. And I'm really proud of that group still, And every so often, we don't talk as much as we used to, but I'll still check in and see how they're doing on Facebook or on Instagram or even on YouTube, and still co-hosting videos. I was just on last night. We were talking about preparing for Joe Fest. So take a look at that. Shout out to Shark Guys Toy View for joining us. Adam House out of Australia. Great episode. It was a lot of fun. Chad says I was an essential worker during COVID when they were released. So I was trying to find everything out of the gate. And Chad that homie still toy hunts. And he scores like crazy, man. Congrats on all those good deals. Madsen says he's been a collector his whole life. On 2020, he went on the hunt seriously, got the Cobra Island figures. Every figure he wanted for retail or cheaper. Congrats. When I wanted to get those Cobra Troopers, I spent $60. I spent $60 on those Cobra Troopers. I'll never do that again. I haven't needed to pay extra for classified since. Yeah, it was tricky. Cobra Island was harsh. And the thing about Cobra Island was that the figures were just fire, bro. Like the figures were amazing. So let me go ahead and I'll just pull up the Cobra Trooper from Cobra Island. It was, yeah, so let me pull up Cobra Trooper. And I'll tell you my story, my own personal history with Cobra Trooper. So I was trying to get Cobra Trooper for friends of mine. And I was standing in line. I had been in that line since 6 o'clock, since 6:30. And it was hard, man, because, I had promised some friends of mine, I'll go ahead and hook you up. I had already bought extras for myself because I just wanted them immediately. And these figures were fired. They were fantastic, even with the crazy Nerf guns, right? And those guns are straight up Nerf molds. It is silly. More on that later. But you look at the goggles, you look at the helmet, you look at the texture. I mean, still to this day, that Cobra Trooper is one of my absolute favorites. And it was tricky, man, because, man, everybody wanted this, and they sold out fast. Some people were spending $100 to get these Cobra Troopers. They were showing off on Facebook. They were showing off their collections, right? Like, even with the Nerf mold guns, they were still showing off 10 Cobra Troopers, 20, 30 Cobra Troopers. Like, the jealousy was immense and a little annoying, I have to say. Very frustrating. But you look at this, right? I mean, we're still seeing parts of this mold still today. Like the Cobra Infantry, what a smart restock. We needed that Cobra Infantry. Like, a lot of what we were able to get is because they still did the restock. But anyway, even with the Nerf guns, with the goggles, the helmets, you could customize, you could have different rankings. So when I was trying to get this figure, someone's like, hey, man, you're here for the Cobra Troopers too? I was like, yeah, man, but there's only 2 and I'm going to get both. He's like, oh, man. And I should have made a deal with that dude. I should have been like, I'll get one, you get one. That dude hopped in hold on a second. Hold on. Come closer. That dude hopped in the senior line, beat me to the punch, got both troopers, and bounced. I was like looking for that dude. I was so pissed. It's like, I was like, never again will that shit happen to me. That's how crazy Cobra Island was. That's how crazy it got. Beachhead, the Baroness, over and over again. It was a hard time. It was tough. The supply was scarce, whether it was like getting red ninjas, whether it was this thing, that thing. It was tricky, right? Even when you weren't talking about Target and toy hunting, right? Even when you were just talking about exclusives on Pulse, like the Snake Supreme Cobra Commander. I remember they had to bring back the Snake Supreme like twice, a couple of times, because it kept selling out. Look at the detail. Look at the packaging and whatnot. And some people weren't buying for packaging until it came to this figure, right? So once you had gotten Cobra Commander, you're like, cool, I always wanted a Cobra Commander, right? I wanted a 6-inch Cobra Commander. Then you get something like this. I really wish that cape was wired. If that cape was wired, this would have been one of the greatest action figures of all time. You had the pointing figure, all that. Well, yeah, the main line had a pointing figure. But just look at the paint apps, the gold trim on the boots, the red on the red tips, right? Look at the detail on this cape. Just really amazing stuff. Hold on a second. Just really amazing stuff. And this is, once again, this is year 1. So they have been planning this for a while. They're like, if we are going to do G.I. Joe Classified, this is how well we're going to do it. This is what we're going to do it. Look at that. Look at the tapestry on the vest. It's like, still to this day, this is one of my favorite figures. That deluxe Snake Eyes, you needed to do figures like these to grab people's attention. Like, once again, this is why this is why we're still talking about classified series to this day. Just really great stuff. It's just, once again, just really immense. I still have this Snake Supreme. I bought two, one to rock, one to stock. When times got tough, I sold that extra. All right. And I didn't buy the flip. I had every intention of saying, I'm just going to have another collection of this in box. And it just seems like there were different considerations instead. But once again, I was really proud of just how strong this line was. It was just immense, and people needed to get into this line. So I was buying figures for friends as gifts. I was hooking my homies up, asking anyone out of Toy Kind of Mood. Every one of them, I pretty much got them one figure at least. Once again, let's go ahead and let's holler at the chat real quick. All right. Yes, we can talk about Vipers over at Target. Matson says, found a whole case. Yep, people were getting all kinds, and they were getting the running changes. Shout out to Blue Eye, Brown Eye, Beachhead, and whatnot. Cobra Island was a different time, man. You had to be built different. Red Ninjas were really hard to get. And yes, the artwork was overlooked. I'm glad you got into the line still. Only one Red Ninja? Man, I got so many Red Ninjas. I had to be sneaky to get that stuff. I always went straight to electronics and just asked them, like, yo, do you have any of these Red Ninjas in the back? They always hooked me up. Conhuesos. Am I saying that right? Conhuesos? I hope I'm saying that right. Yeah, you had to go across state lines sometimes. I would go home for the holidays and I would get figs. Oh yeah, and people hooking up their figures with customs. Yeah. Oh man, I didn't think about that. I did not think about that. Snake Supreme Commander with Iron Grenadiers and the Iron Grenadier bats. That's going to be great. That's going to be nice. All right. That's enough of that. Let's go ahead and go back to year one, right? So we're talking about hunting the Baroness. That's how I became friends with Toy Kind of Mood, meeting Travis Moody during hunting Baroness. It was freaking awesome. And then you have PulseCon, where people were able to get those figures that they had maybe missed out on retail from GameStop or Amazon, you name it. Even that Arctic Mission Storm Shadow. This one. Okay, for the culture, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take a look at that Storm Shadow again. This is going to bring back bad memories. Holy crap. You see when I got mine. I got mine all the way back in August 2020. Goodness, that'll be 4 years ago in 2 months. So that was 3 months and 10. That was 3 years and 10 months ago. And these fools, what, $94.99? Man, why? This is a harsh game. Man. All right, anyway. $94.99. Come on, man. So this one, it was hard to get this Arctic Mission Storm Shadow. You just had to keep lucking out. I got this by sheer freaking accident. I clicked on the link. It was active. I bought it. I never bought a figure so fast. The Gold Arashikage on the quiver. Listen, and this Storm Shadow wasn't everyone's Storm Shadow. This was basically the first Ninja Force figure that we got. So if you're getting Slice and Dice, you're getting Budo or that Ninja Force Snake Eyes, Ninja Force Scarlet, you're going to want this Arctic Mission Storm Shadow. So the first Storm Shadow we got was a Joe, arguably. And it was still incredible. I still dug this figure. And I am pissed off that these fools still want $94.99, $95 for this. You should not be putting a figure on layaway, bro. You should not be having to put a figure on layaway. Don't get me started. That's not cool. That is not cool. Hollering at the chat. Jarhead, thank you very much, man. I hope you're going to enjoy this. I should have blotted out more time because I do not want to get in the way of a Punk with Toys with special guest Toy Connections. Definitely watch that episode. I am not going to take up too much time after this. I did not think I was going to spend this much long on just year one, so I'm going to have to speed this up. Yes, pretty please. Oh, yes, we will use MapQuest to egg your house. Anyway, let's go ahead. Yeah, we had to track down those red ninjas. Profit Director was a fun time. Let me show some love really quick to Profit Director, and then I'm gonna see if I can speed this up a little bit. I may not be able to because but once again, I don't want to step on the toes of my friends over at Punk with Toys. So I'm gonna just make this quick, real quick. But yeah, it was a really fun figure, really fun time. Let's take a look at Profit Director. So this one is not as insane. $35.99 on Amazon. You can probably still get it cheaper, but pimped out to the max. That's a lot of fun. Money's on fire. Like, if you're really crafty and you have an extra one of these, put this sucker on a Red Skull, the Khonshu Wave Red Skull, in the black suit from the What If show, and then add a red cape. You basically have your Iron Grenadier Destro. Although the official Iron Grenadier Destro and the spoiler, it's going to be fire. Fire, just like that money that was on fire. That was like one of the best action figure props ever. It's like, who does that? So once again, kudos to the Joe team. What fun. Oh, what fun there is to have with this line. With the cheetah cape, come on, dude. That's great. I really, really love this line. Like, I've enjoyed this line for a long time. I did not realize this was going to take me so long just doing year one. So I'm going to have to. Oh, okay. Thanks for letting me know. Pre-recorded. All right. Appreciate that. I mean, still shout out to my homies Punk with Toys and Toy Connection. I think you guys should still check out that episode. It's going to be pretty dope. Thanks, Frank Demonio. Thanks for joining this, man. Zen, thank you very much for that. I'm gonna take my time. I'm gonna chill out. Yeah, man. The coil's dope. It's an Akira bike, basically, right? So, listen, it's all good time, and there's a lot of great stuff. Shout out to 𝐁𝐥𝐚𝐜 Displays for getting 100 subs. Shout out to What's on Joe Mind. Shout out to the Full Force podcast. So Chris McLeod. Check all those dudes out, man. Toy tubing ain't easy, so we try to put in a lot of hard work for y'all, and I'm glad you enjoy it. TK Storm says Royal Variant was my first, had no intention to buy more. Now I have about 100 in the Cobra Army, man. Yeah, dude, it's crazy like that, man. And thanks for joining us, Frank, man. I hope you're having a good time. Yes, the gridiron cigars. I like those gridiron cigars. And lighting it with the money, that's nice. That's dope. I would like to see that on Instagram. I need to go ahead and do that. And it's crazy when the Joes go on clearance. I saw CoverGirl at Ross for $5.99. It just depends. What are you willing to pay $5.99 for a Joe, or $94.99 for a Joe? Like that damn Arctic Mission Storm Shadow. Don't get me started. Oh boy. No. Punk's the homie, dude. I was just on his show last week. Check out Thursday with a Friend. I was his guest last week, and we had a great time. Punk, be nice. Be nice. That's my homie Lawrence, man. Yeah. I think this will be history of G.I. Joe Classified Series Part 1. No, we'll go ahead and go through the thing. I'm not gonna take up your time like that. So thank you very much for joining me. Let's go ahead. I'm gonna pull up the Baroness real quick, because this Baroness was fantastic. People were getting in your face with that Baroness, and we've seen it a couple other times too. We've seen it on Retro Card Back, and of course Crimson Strike Team. But let's go ahead real quick. And let's take it back to Cobra Island. I'm going to have flashbacks, bad flashbacks with this one. But all right, here goes. So it was Cobra Island. It was summer 2020. And this figure was damn near impossible to get. It was a problem. You needed to have Baroness in your collection. So why these essential characters like Baroness, like Beachhead, were Target exclusives where no one could get them is beyond me, man. Like, how many Cobra Troopers do you have? It was just a tough time, but the figures, they spoke for themselves, man. Like, there was no beating this stuff. So once again, let's just go down memory lane just for a little bit. I think they just didn't realize just how much people wanted this. So it's this Target exclusive. Target barely orders any of these. So they just figured like, yeah, it's fine. People will have, we're just going to get a couple. Like, no, people are going to be camped out trying to get this. And the photography was still fantastic. And sure, we were able to get, the retro card back with some of the weapons and whatnot, Walmart exclusive, right? People were still able to get these. They were able to get these on Pulse, So if you still somehow didn't get that Baroness with the coil cycle, it took a while, but you were still able to get her, And I had called that they were going to do a Crimson Strike team. I paid full price for this damn Crimson Strike team, and now it's $48. Do not get me started. But I still love the line, and I'm still a fan, even though this thing is damn near half price. I was excited to get it, and I wanted it, so I got it. Like, it just depends. It's like perceived value. Is the value worth it to you? If it is, great. Get it, go nuts. If not, then show some patience. Patience is your friend. Although less of these are going to get made. So it's not going to be Roscon. It's not going to be Ollie's Con. If you miss out, there's a good chance now that it's just gone. So if you can live with that, that's fine. But I'm still glad that they updated it with the face sculpts, the face plates. That's a really smart idea. Different hair on this Crimson Strike team. Listen, I'm getting ahead of myself. Like I said, I'm not going to ramble. I'm not going to waste your time. But it was tough. Year one. Year one was a tough time to be a Joe fan because you saw these figures that everybody wanted and you just could not get your hands on them. You had to make deals. You had to make friends. If you didn't have a community, if you didn't have people on Facebook or Instagram, even Discord. I didn't use Discord until very recently. So people were using Discord. They were using Reddit. They were building toy networks. They were utilizing the community. You had to, or you just weren't going to get this stuff. And Matt's and I agree. I still love that Cobra Island Baroness. Selena says, not a fan of the bike. I like the bike. The bike's hit and miss with a lot of people. And Matson says, Red Ninja looks good on the bike. Viper Scout says, I work next to a Target. I went every day, and finally they have one on hold that someone never picked up and sold to me. Awesome. That is an awesome story. Yes, it was meant to recall that Akira bike. Jarhead, not a fan of that motorcycle. It is what it is. Frank Cruz pretty much agrees. They love the Baroness, not so much the bike. You could have flipped that bike, made some money. People were buying that bike. They were buying that bike. They were customizing that bike. I've seen navy blue versions, all black and gold versions of that bike. That bike is nice, man. That bike is nice. Yeah, the Crimson Strike team. It's a great pack, and it's still up on Pulse for $48. I recommend it. And yes, it is a repack. And yes, you do have Baroness. Yes, you do have Zaymon. Yes, you do have Tomax, but you don't have them in Crimson. And I would say it's really great in Crimson. Liquid Identity says Retro Baroness is better in almost every regard. Have all three. So do I. I'm still partial just because of what it took me to get that Cobra Island, but I bet, yes, they probably did make upgrades to that Retro Baroness. Jarhead was saying, yeah, that Baroness hit $200. That Baroness hit 200. I was hooking people up at retail because they were the homies. They still couldn't believe I was doing that. I was like, if you see a figure and I want it, just remember that I gave you the Black Genghis price, that I gave you the retail price, and that I will be expecting the retail price in turn, good sir. So that's what we did. Yeah, Kim Bash said pay full price too. Yeah, man. High five indeed. Yeah, and Big E saying, yeah, a new head sculpt, biting the lip. Once again, let's move on. I promise you this is not going to be a 5-hour episode of Black Genghis Live. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go from year one. We're going to go from year one of Classified Series 2. Where is it? Bear with me 1 second. Here it is. Year 2. So now we're going to talk about the impact that media had on the line with the G.I. Joe Origins film, Snake Eyes. We're going to talk about the Viper. That Viper was crazy, man. And then we're also going to talk about the community building steam. Mainly, I'm going to be talking about my good friends over at 𝐁𝐥𝐚𝐤. So, once again, let me go ahead and set this up for y'all. Let me go ahead and paint a picture, right? So, it's 2009. You had the Transformers. They did pretty good. Transformers in 2007 was fun. It was a cool movie. You know, like it was cool watching all that stuff blow up. But what people were saying, or maybe some people were saying, is when are we going to get a G.I. Joe movie? When are we going to get live action Joes, right? It sells itself. I mean, you would think that, right? The only problem was we ended up getting something different. So I'm going to show you guys. Once again, I don't want to trigger your memories. But it was just it wasn't fun. It was not a good time to be a fan because it was difficult. The Rise of the Cobra movie was difficult. Shout out to Snake Eyes lips. And yes, I know the original Snake Eyes from the OG 13 technically had lips, but you couldn't see those joints and you weren't meant to see those. It was they tried their best, right? They tried their best, you know, and parts of it, you know, it kind of looks like a Joe movie, you know, like, you know, they did their best, man. You know, shout out to Marlon Wayans, Wallace Weems, Ripcord, you know, like whether it's a ginger or whether dude's melanated, it's still Ripcord, right? Even though he's in a weird Exo Squad suit that doesn't really make sense. And once again, it's like you get what you can take. Oh, what? Look, Ray Park was awesome as Snake Eyes. You gotta. So the history of G.I. Joe on film is checkered at best. Let's just say that much. But it wasn't because of lack of trying, right? It's just we wanted to celebrate the media, right? So when you had Retaliation, it was a little bit better. You had The Rock as Rock Block. You know, you had a better Snake Eyes. You had a better attempt. The only thing was, and I remember this because I was too broke to get the figures at the time. Those figures came out a full year ahead of schedule because they decided to hold the movie back and convert it to 3D instead. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that was the case, right? So if you were in theaters for Retaliation, the wait was a long one, and you probably had all the figures by then. But it looks more like a Joe movie. It feels more like a Joe movie. Like they tried, man. They tried. They tried. I guess just making Joe movies is hard. I guess it's just hard to make a G.I. Joe live action movie. Once again, we had that setback. We had the figures out because they wanted to put it in 3D and get the extra coin for doing it in 3D. Now, whether that was recommended or not, it is what it is, right? I have both movies, you know, and once again, it's sort of like almost like a throwback where you take what you can get, right? It's like they tried. They tried to give us G.I. Joe. It didn't necessarily work out, you know, but you know, what are you gonna do? You know, it is what it is. So now we have the Joes in it's 2021. It's year 2. What's going to happen with this movie? How good is this movie going to be? Matson says the extended action cut of Retaliation. I have that. I just never watched that. I'll go ahead and watch that. Shout out to Resolute though. Resolute. There's no touching Resolute. I love Resolute. I may pull a Viper Island and I'm just gonna put Resolute on my YouTube channel. No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. Don't do that. And show attribute and no plagiarizing. Show attribution, please. Cornelius McGillicuddy says the only good thing to come out of the Joe films is the Joe Eagle. Yeah. That Joe logo, that Joe Eagle logo is pretty awesome. It depends. The movies still make money. Rise of the Beast made money. Rise of the Beast still made money. So it's going to be hard. It's like, as long as Lorenzo di Bonaventura is making money for Hasbro, Skydance, and Paramount, he's going to keep the rights. He's going to keep the rights, right? Let's go ahead. Let's talk about Snake Eyes origins. And here's the thing. I'll keep it real. I'll keep it all the way real with y'all. I did not like this movie. I do not like this movie. I don't think that's Snake Eyes. That's not Snake Eyes to me. The dude does things that Snake Eyes wouldn't do. And as far as I'm concerned, I think it's a false movie. I don't think this should even count as a G.I. Joe movie. Like, I'll take Rise of Cobra with the goofy Iron Man suits and Snake Eyes with the lips. Like, I'll take that over this. Right? Even with this retaliation. And I'm glad that they got rid of the lips and they gave my homie the Uzis and whatnot. Right? To me, that's Snake Eyes. And yeah, you have these characters, and it's a great cast. It's a good cast. It is a good cast. That's the thing. It's a good cast. But the story was bad, and I feel like the brand deserves more. I'm glad this movie did not kill off the line. I'm serious. There was a timeline, there was a world where we don't have G.I. Joe classified series anymore because this movie was so damn bad. I don't like how Snake Eyes is treated as a character. I feel like it's character assassination. I don't like the fight scenes. I don't like the stunt choreography. I don't like that Storm Shadow is this noble samurai character in the movie, and then he just flips modes out of nowhere because the Arashikage were just unreasonable. Be like, well, you used the thing, you shouldn't have used it. What? I'm evil now. I'm like, get this away from me. I don't want this. And apparently we all said the same thing when it came to those figures. Because nobody wanted those figures. You can still get G.I. Joe Origins figures today from Big Bad Toy Store, from Amazon, from whatever. It's amazing. Oh, by the way, it's KJ. But I appreciate that. So Cornelius McGillicuddy says, doing a Joe is quite easy. You have people talking about Bonaventura. Bonaventura makes money. It makes money. Viper Scout says, don't make your hero an asshole. Even Hancock spent the runtime trying to redeem himself. Yeah, but the first half of Hancock is much better than the second half. Matson says, it's an American Ninja movie. If it was an American Ninja movie, I can enjoy it more. Hot garbage. Which one, DJ 5-Ash? DeMunio agrees. Frank Cruz says the same thing. Joe movies are not hard to make. Lorenzo is involved in the movies. But here's the thing. The movies make money. People still went to go see movies. Even if G.I. Joe Origins didn't recoup its cost in the theatrical release, I think people still watched it on Paramount Plus. They still watched it on streaming. People still watch that movie. They watched Henry Golding fight 3 giant snakes. Movies are weird. And here's the thing. We all bought those damn figures. We bought Akiko. We bought Storm Shadow. We bought the figures. You say you didn't, but you did. They still made ancillary products, costumes for Halloween. They still made the figures. Like, people were still buying, like, I bought some of the Night Creepers that were like the Origins Night Creepers because they still look like Night Creepers. And people kit bashed them with Red Ninjas to make them classified. Like, people were still buying the stuff. That's the thing. So it's not like the movie didn't make money. That's the thing. So you can say what you want about Lorenzo di Bonaventura. He's in the business. We're not. The execs, the suits, they use algorithms. They use case studies. They don't sit down in the theater and watch this stuff. They don't watch movies. They don't watch TV. When they were kids, they were jet setting off to the Alps or, or European vacations or whatever, right? They didn't do this. They're trying to make money off of us. And they are. So when a basic ass figure like this Night Creeper that has 8 points of articulation still sells out, then you're going to keep getting Rise of the Beast. You're going to keep getting Lorenzo di Bonaventura Productions. And so you just got to roll the dice and see if we're going to get good ones. Let's go ahead and let's take another look at some of the Snake Eyes origins. Once again, these Akikos. Oh, okay, never mind. I guess they're all sold out. But the point is that we're still seeing bits and pieces of those figures. Like the Akiko still shows up in she still shows up in Blue Ninja, right? Or Vipra, right? So that mold is still a part of the line. And hopefully they'll update it because, man, it's like, I am not here for single jointed elbows on female figures. You better give me a double joint. I'm just being real. I got to keep it real with y'all. It's like, you can do the double joint. We saw it with Lady J. We saw it with CoverGirl. So maybe take another look at this Akiko figure. Maybe add that double jointed. The tooling can't cost that much more. Like, holler at us, man. We've been dealing with this mold for a long time. And I think Classified Series deserves better. Those figures took a long time to clear shelves. A lot of people, the first time they got an action figure for $4 or $5, it was because it was from G.I. Joe Origins, because it was Baroness that cleared out, or Akiko, or that Scarlet. Once again, the figures were great. Look at the face sculpt on this movie Scarlet. Shout out to Samara Weaving, right? They did a good job. People bought the merch. They bought the shirts. They showed up to theaters. They bought popcorn. They bought soda. They bought the candy. The movie made money. G.I. Joe makes money. That's why we're still talking about Joe Fest and HasLabs and everything else 5 years later. So, yeah, I'm not a fan of it. And yeah, I agree with Todd C. They should do an OG-13 movie. I wish we had Blind Master RZA, but you can still get Super 7 RZA toys from Reaction. Skybound is killing it. No spoilers. Please, no Skybound spoilers in the chat. I want people to go get the trades. You can get Transformers in trade. You can get Duke in trade. Soon you'll be able to get Cobra Commander in trade, collecting those 5 issues. Get Scarlet, get Destro. We're still a year into Energon Universe. Get in on the ground floor. If you don't read comics, now's a great time to start. I highly recommend those comments. Pretty please, everybody. No spoilers in the chat. Toyomic says, so the movie dragged him into Classified Enjoys. The nostalgia from my childhood got me. Okay, awesome. $2 each. Those, you mean that creamsicle Storm Shadow? That is crazy, bro. Oh man. $2. Like, it got, let me see if I can find it real quick. Did it get $2? Okay. Amazon has it for $15. I love Classified Series. $12.88. I'm a little offended. I don't want to pay $12.88 for this. I want that $2 price. Right? But once again, we saw a little bit of this show back up in other figures as well. That's a great figure. I think that's Matthew Koji from Warrior. Warrior's a great show. Check that out as well. It was a good cast. It's just, it comes down to script. It comes down to like all this stuff. Kim Best says it was like Uncharted. Remove the name and it's an okay action movie. Yeah, sometimes I think this stuff shouldn't even rest on IP. The brand doesn't need the media. Classified Series is doing great without the media. Head sculpts were good, and so on and so forth. If I don't get to everyone's comments, it's not because I didn't think that was interesting, anything like that. I don't want to make this a 5-hour episode talking about the complete history of Classified Series. The point is, that's a good point. Selena says, bought the figures. Had the movie been successful, would have gotten a second wave of Kenta, Granny, the Hard Master, Blind Master, and everything else. Yeah, we could have gotten a second wave of Origins figures. I mean, oh, they're still in Ollie's? Good grief! Holy crap! No, once again, people are buying. People still buying. They buy it. And they probably will buy all 3 of the live action movies. So you can get Rise of Cobra, Retaliation, and Snake Eyes Origins all at once. Probably at a good price. And so, yes, read the comics. Andrew Koji, Madsen, thank you for that. Thank you for the correction. Andrew Koji. And yeah, you don't want to do Clearance Fest, right? Yeah, until Retro Card Scarlet. That Retro Card Scarlet is amazing. We do need better media. So I understand why Hasbro is saying we need the media to sell the toys, but you need good media. You need good media. If it's not good, then people are not going to see it. And not only that, don't waste people's time. Once again, I just want to point out, shout out to the cast. I feel like the cast, they did their best. They did their job. They showed up to work. I like Henry Golding. Like, I like the cast members here. You know, they did their job. They did what they were supposed to do. And I think in the future, they get the script down, focus on the right characters, just focus on the sub-team. It doesn't have to be a complete G.I. Joe movie. Do a Tiger Force movie, do a Night Force movie, do a Night Force show for Netflix or Paramount Plus, whatever. But these people tried hard. This dude, have you ever seen The Raid? Watch The Raid. Go watch The Raid. If you haven't watched The Raid or Raid 2, do yourself a favor and watch those movies. This dude is awesome. I'm like, this dude's a G.I. Joe? Awesome. Except it wasn't awesome. But that's not his fault. People work hard. They work damn hard. And yes, once again, it's the script. It's the script is a problem. That characterization was a problem. Yeah, there's a this is a multifaceted one. Let's go ahead and let's keep it moving. Let's go back and let's talk again about toy photography. So once again, shout out to all the great photographers that are out there. I had a completely separate thing I was going to talk about as far as like some of my favorites, Instant Leanne, DSG, the Imperial Grunt, so on and so forth. But these figures are so good that even with the scant offerings that we had in year 2, and it wasn't a lot, but even with the stuff, people were still doing incredible work on Instagram. I remember hunting that blood. In fact, one of my favorite memories of Instagramming was that I actually did like a little Out for Blood mock-up. That was a lot of fun. I can't pull it up right now because it's just going to take too long. It was like really early days. But the point is like finding that Major Blood. I was able to hook up a lot of my friends. And that one was the first time that people could actually get a Cobra Island figure and not freak out. People were shocked that they could get Major Blood because they just didn't think they had a shot at it. They got Lady J, they got Flint, they got the Cobra Infantry and everything else. Shout out to Heavy Artillery Roadblock. I was about to, this is a true story, I was about to drop the line just because times were hard and I was trying to make rent. I was very lucky enough to get promoted at work, and that helped out a lot. But before that, I had no business collecting, not really. Flawed, thank you for getting me in that Heavy Artillery Roadblock still. It kept me in the line. My wallet does not thank you, but my childhood heart does. And I'm still glad to be a part of the Classified series. Thank you very much for that Heavy Artillery Roadblock. I still treasure it to this day. And then shout out to Breaker with Ram. That sucker went on clearance, man. I have about still 6 of those Ram cycles. And that Alpha Commandos 2-pack. The Master Disguise PulseCon was a game changer. That one. So let's take a really quick look. I promise you, because we're going to move on. I did not mean to talk this long about Classified. Shame on me for doing too much. But the point is that we finally got the color change Zartan with Classified series, and people had to have it. It was a must buy. Like, you had to get your hands on that figure. Shout out to the artwork still. Like, I kind of missed that artwork on the box. right? And it was cool doing it with the temperature color change. And because the photosensitive kind of degrades a little bit. But look at the value. Look at the face plates, the different head sculpts, all the different accessories. Yeah. I still haven't opened up my Master of Disguise. I'm not going to. I just have this. So it's this and Deluxe Snake Eyes are some of the few classified series I have not opened. And if you missed out on it, I guess you can still get it at a decent price. This is Master Disguise Sartan. They want 150 bones for it. Look, man, like if you knew where to look, you didn't have to spend that much. That 200. Oh my goodness, that's not cool, man. Sorry, I'll make this really quick. What are people spending on this Master Disguise? Don't look. Make friends. Make friends. Make a deal. You shouldn't be spending $150, $160 on Master Disguise Zartan. And be a good brother. Be a good dude. If you have an extra Master Disguise, you got a homie, make a deal. Do 100. Do 75. If y'all homies for real, then just remember that dude who hooked you up and got you that Master Disguise. Make some money. Make some money because, hey, they should have been in on the ground floor. Look at these prices. Don't be spending that on these, man. And I love classified series. Don't be spending that. That's not cool. That's not cool. Don't be charging 150 on that. I would not do that. Shout out to the homie Shark Eyes. Thanks for joining us, man. Yes, that heavy artillery is still great. Keith says the Blood's still one of the best sculpts ever. Chad agrees. No way. Yeah, do not pay that. Most rare? Whoa, I did not know that. That's interesting. So the swamp skier, I feel like we could still get a swamp skier. I feel like maybe they're just waiting because when you do these vehicles, and we'll touch on vehicles at this rate 3 hours from now, but we'll touch on vehicles in a second because if you're doing a ferret, you got to do the tiger paw. If you're doing the vamp, you have to do the stinger. You have to do the ground assault vehicle. If they do a dreadnought cycle, there's no reuse. You're not redoing that. So it's probably going to be a smaller run. That dreadnought cycle will probably be PulseCon. It'll definitely be a Hasbro Pulse exclusive. We're not seeing that on retail or fan channel. Swamp Skier, it's going to be the same way. How many Zartans do you have, yo? Like the retro card, Master of Disguise, the first release. So they got to make that other Zartan really special. They either need to make it a 2-pack with Xandar or Zanzibar or something, and they can put in the Swamp Skier that way. But there's no reusing that Swamp Skier. There's no Night Force blacked out Swamp Skier. There's no Arctic Swamp Skier. That's a one and done. So is it a waste of tooling if they can't get one other use? It depends. If that Swamp Skier keeps us from a Triple T or a Cobra Fang or a Skyhawk, I can do without it. And third parties got you covered. Go holler at Non-Nef. Non-Nef has a great Swamp Skier. You have to put it together. And shout out to my homie Ryan Sweeney, Dreadnought Ryan, who showed this off in one of the episodes of Terradrome. So you know where to look. If you're resourceful, you can get this $30 plus shipping. Watch the assembly video. Yes, watch the assembly video, but get it. Don't wait. Don't wait on Hasbro. The community's got you covered. People got you covered. If you want a Swamp Skier, you want that chameleon, get it. Get it. Get it. Make it happen. That's what Terradrome's all about. So that reminds me, like, I got to show love right now to my homies over at Toy Kind of Mood because year 2 was really about really getting deep into the line. So if you'll pardon me very quickly, I just want to give a shout out to my homies over at the Terradrome. So if you haven't subscribed, please visit a Toy Kind of Mood on YouTube. We just had a great episode with Shark Guy, Toy Views, Adam House last night, and it was a lot of fun. But these were the days, and these episodes are near and dear to my heart. So once again, I can't play the theme song because we used the Public Enemy theme song. we used the Public Enemy theme song, but I got love for these guys. And man, I have got to get better lighting. I got better lighting right now. But once again, shout out to the homie Fixer, shout out to the homie Travis, shout out to the homie Tony Spigs. And me and Tony Spigs are still going to keep TerraDrum going on this channel. But I had a lot of love for these guys. I was really proud of the work we did with TerraDrum, showing it off. And it was just a really good time. It was a good time to be a fan. And, shout out to Gridiron. Like, we sort of built our mark with the Gridiron brand. And we were one of the first ones to feature him on YouTube and telling people to show it off. Shout out to my OG 13. I didn't even have time to put that in the slideshow. But yeah, I still got love for my TerraDrum bros. And I'm really looking forward to it. Man, that was a whole lifetime ago. That was crazy. Yes, shout out to Plastic Fantastic. Also, Action figure. I forget, like Action Plastic Pants, something like that. But definitely Plastic Fantastic. That's the guy who finally printed out that entire 112 scale TerraDrum. It is immense. It is crazy. Shout out to Sabir Del Norte. Hey man, thanks for joining us. Figuratively speaking, thank you very much for joining. Once again, woo, yeah, Wallet, yeah. The new drones at Gridiron. Listen, I'm going to focus. I have to focus right now, but definitely take a look at gridironprops.com. Check that out. That's going to be a lot of fun. All right. Once again, the restock. So we were able to get that Cobra Island restock. People were able to get their figures. They got Beachhead. If you wanted Cobra Island Roadblock, aka Heavy Duty, you were able to get him too. You were able to get your Cobra Troopers. People, I remember people saying the restock was never going to happen. There is no restock. What do they have to say now? Even though that was 3 years later, so I can't really gloat. Listen, let's go ahead. I'm gonna try to keep this moving. Let's talk about year 3. Year 3 hurt. Year 3 hurt. It was the drought. So this is 2022. And even though we got a decent amount of figures, these figures did not appear. Like half of these figures did not show up until the last 2 months of 2022. I'm talking Thanksgiving and Christmas. Like, it was a long wait. And shout out to people who were able to get Storm Shadow and Spirit and the Cobra Officer early. I think they showed up over at Dorkside Toys. Rest in peace, Dorkside Toys, based out of Tennessee. But if you ordered a case from them, they got them. They were the first ones on block to get them. So people earlier that year in January got their hands on Spirit and Storm Shadow and Cobra Officer. Travis was one of them, and we were intensely jealous of Travis at the time. I remember. I have not forgotten. But you talk about Croc Master. You talk about that Tiger Force Outback, the introduction of Tiger Force. That Duke and Ram didn't show up until the end of the year. That Snake Eyes and Timber. People wanted Timber, and we were finally able to get that White Wolf Timber. But it didn't show up until like the end of the year. So it was a long wait. The retro card backs. I wanted to get those retro card backs. The backing was super flimsy. And I remember posting on Instagram that my both my Destro and my Gung-Ho had showed up with crumpled card backs. So I was able to get refunds, but I wanted to put those up on my wall. And even though they've gotten better, to this day, I put up my retro figures up on my wall instead, but not the and I mean the 3 3/4 like reaction and that kind of stuff, but not the Joes. The Joes, I just give up on doing that. Yeah, Retro Lady J is still like, yeah, they're all over the place. So if you're patient, you can still save some money. But once again, going back to year 3, it was a long wait for these figures. It was hard because we wanted to get Mindbender. People missed out on Mindbender. They missed out on Serpentor. Sometimes there were restocks and people got lucky. I was able to help out some friends with Mindbender. I was able to help out some friends with Serpentor. But as far as I'm concerned, my crowning achievement was that interview we did with Lenny and Emily. And I'm still very proud of that interview. In fact, let me go ahead and just once again, I'll keep it muted. Um, and there's the slightest bit of controversy with this episode because when we did this episode, we had a really great time. Like we got to like talk with Lenny, and Lenny's just dyed in the wool, true blue fan. The brand was in the right hands, and we loved Emily's energy. Emily took a lot of slings, a lot of arrows from people who were just frankly being assholes. And they just decided that they just hated this person. But ignoring her energy, ignoring her enthusiasm, and just the zeal she brought, like she was a new fan and she fell head over heels in love with classified series. And Max and I agree. Yeah, Emily is great. And whenever people would talk trash about Emily, I took any opportunity to shut them the hell up. You shut your mouth. This person has re-energized this brand. And she is trying her damnedest to get you these figures. There was a lot of irritation. There's a lot of consternation because once again, it was a drought. It was just nothing but hype. It was nothing but hype. And it would be like one release and another pre-render and another digital render and another sneak peek. But where are the figures? They were stuck on boats. They were in transit. Some of that stuff was at the bottom of the ocean because sometimes some of those boats just lost crates because of storms or one thing or another. It was a crazy time. Ooh, yeah, good point about retro Mindbender. Yes, but the thing is, when we're talking about this episode, this was our first run-in with Viper Island, and I'm going to talk about Viper Island, and I'm going to try to do so as calmly as possible. Let me go ahead and get a drink of water real quick. I'm going to need that. I scrounged up as much money as I possibly could for San Diego Comic-Con 2022. I was able to join a friend of mine. He had gotten a hotel room, and I split the cost with him, which was hundreds of dollars. And it took me a while to pay him back. I didn't have money for exclusives. I didn't have money for food. Friends of mine treated me to meals. Travis treated me to meals. And I was able to meet Mark Von Cannon, his lovely wife, Sandy. I was able to meet Bobby Behar for the first time in the flesh. Got to meet K-Wish, Steven, and other members of Toy Got a Mood. And it was magical. But I got to meet Lenny and Emily as well. And I got to tell them how much I love the brand, how much I love what they were doing, how much this brand meant to me in bringing back my feels from childhood in the middle of a modern day plague of a coronavirus pandemic. It was a beam of light bursting through the clouds. And I wanted to thank them personally, and I wanted to meet them face to face. And Viper Island tried to steal that from me. He tried to plagiarize our content and pass it off, not only as his own, but not even naming us, saying an unnamed toy-related podcast. He wouldn't even bother sending traffic our way, even though he was pilfering our content for his game. And it took time because Viper Island, the person who runs Viper Island knows how to work the system. And he would claim fair use. This is under fair use. But not everybody understands fair use law. And so he was benefiting from the common ignorance around fair use and what you could get away with and what you couldn't. So he cropped us out of our own interview and got thousands of hits. And we had enough. So time and time again, we went directly to YouTube and we said, this is the content that he was using. He used it without our permission, without attribution, without credit. He's a plagiarist, and we want this video struck. And it got struck. He still got the hits. He still got the views. And he was able to still monetize our content for his game. But not for long. It was a limited amount. And because of that, a Toy Kind of Mood showed up on a lot of people's radars. So that interaction with Viper Island, we built a name for ourselves off of that. And we showed ourselves as the true blue fans. And still to this day. Kim Best was saying, I was never a sub of VI, but I wrote him off completely after I saw he ripped off your interview. Knowing how hard it had to be to get the interview. It was, man. I took time off of work. I rode the train down to San Diego. I lucked out on getting that. And I didn't have the press pass with a toy kind of mood. Like, we only had so many passes. So I went total renegade. I have friends. And they were able to get me in. But it was still up in the air because they had other friends too. And it just so happened I was able to get in and get there, watch the panel, which was a great panel, get on the floor and talk with Lenny and Emily, with Bobby and Travis and Steven. Todd C says, I remember this interview, and it's stupid there are VI sympathizers out there who say this is a fabricated lie. People are fans. So for a lot of Joe fans, apparently thousands of them, unless they're bots, I don't know. I can't say. But Viper Island was their primary source of Joe information, especially with classified series and everything else. So people who didn't care about the politics or the behind the scenes drama, I can't fault them for being fans of Viper Island. They wouldn't know anything else. And Viper Island bottling in that audience to be like, don't worry about going to Shark Eyes Toy View. Don't worry about going to Punk with Toys or Toy Kind of Mood or Full Force Podcast. All you need to do is come to Viper Island, your one-stop source for everything G.I. Joe. I get it. It's easy. And if you're a fan and you are friends with other fans, then it gets clingy. So it's not just about you watching Viper Island. It's you seeing friends of yours on the chats or the streams or whatever else. And Viper Island would get nasty. He would get people's Instagram accounts taken down, YouTube accounts taken down. We may or may not still be seeing stuff of that stuff. Strange bedfellows, people that I'm not necessarily a fan of, but that doesn't mean I want to see them mistreated by Viper Island. Liquid Identity says, when I first got into Classified, I watched VI, but until the Doc Windu leak. After that, I had no respect and didn't watch any of VI. Whether it's a lie or truth, he just wanted the views. You just clickbait and just to get your eyes in there. And once again, I'm trying to be quick. Man, I thought I was going to do this in an hour. I should have known better. But I don't ever want to waste your time. I don't ever want you to think that you're getting Viller off of a Black Genghis live. I'm just counting my own personal history with the Classified series and how much the brand means to me as a fan since childhood. Viper Scout says, I did subscribe to Viper Island and he was cheesy but okay in the beginning, but he started getting bitter. Stealing your content was the last straw and I am sub. Thank you for that. I appreciate you for that. And I know he gets his family members involved in it as well. So you're thinking you're watching a family-friendly podcast. You think that you're watching someone passing down their love of G.I. Joes to the next generation, but there's other stuff that's going on there. And it didn't have to be that way. It would have been awesome if Viper Island was just cool and chill. Had us on, had other people on, had other people from the toy community and from the toy network. Have Ostradamus Toys on, have Action Figs on, have Anything Joe's or the Island of Misfit Toy Collectors. It didn't have to be that way. There are other brands out there that I wish we could all play along, right? Brands I won't address by name, but it didn't have to be that way. We could have all shared it in just one big old sandbox and have a great time. It's toys. There's no reason for this. I don't understand it. Let's go ahead and get back to it. So once again, that Serpentor was, I think, one of the best things Classified's ever done. And I'm a big fan of it. I think when it comes to, am I going to get this figure, am I not, then buyer's remorse, right? Even if you get a figure, you're like, why do I have this figure? I don't want this figure. I should sell this figure. Then sell it. Flip it. If you don't want it, someone else will want it. So let's go ahead and really quick. Oh, let me holler at the chat really quick before it's. Selena says, if we can hang with Punk for 3 hours on a regular basis, we can spend more than an hour with KJ. Thank you very much. I appreciate you for that. KOM deal, and he blocks me. Yeah, don't lie. Don't lie when it comes to the Joes. You don't have to lie. Yes, he could have been the wholesome G.I. Joe dad. Yes, VI was an introduction to a lot of people to the Joes and to the new Joes. Like he brought in a lot of people into it. Figure Six Pack says 5.75 Island is the iceberg to the Titanic as he's pulling everyone down with him and his ship that sinks. That sucks. It does. It didn't have to be this way. Yep, tabloid Joe news. You don't need that. You don't need that. This brand deserves better than that. And not only that, but you as fans and you as a community deserve better than that. Demand better than that. And I'm trying to give you the best I have right now. I want to go and talk about this Serpentor on Pulse. It was an exclusive. It was hard to get, but that air chariot is so great. If you have this, then you know what I'm talking about. Everything from the 50 cal guns and the gun clips, the cape, the portrait, all this stuff, right? And I love a diaphragm joint. I will always take a diaphragm joint over an ab crunch. The Fang Gauntlet, the Snake Spears. The love is there. The love is real. And I get it, man. I get it when people are like, I don't know if I'm going to get this. I don't know if I want this, right? But you do. You do want it, you know? And honestly, get it in hand, and then you'll love it. So right now, I'm also going to see what this baby is going for. Oh my goodness. Say it ain't so. $190? Come on, don't do me like that. How much is this thing going for? Don't do that. I'll make this quick. It's just that it's a great figure. It's one of the landmarks. I'm kind of rushing through this. Oh man, come on. You don't have to pay this much. Make friends. Make deals. Trade. If you have extras, trade for that Serpentor and Air Chariot. Don't pay $200. Don't pay $190. Don't do it. Make friends. Reach out. Like, okay, that's calming down a little bit. I say $100. I say a friendship price is $100. If you're cool with somebody, make a little bit of money. Get your money back, make a little bit extra, but that's it. Especially if they're a friend of yours. But don't do this, man. You guys didn't pay that for your Serpentors, right? You didn't pay $200 for yours, right? Tell me in the chat. How much did you pay for your Serpentors? Yeah, Serpentor for 2 vamps. Yep, snagged it for your toy shop, $90. Yeah, it was like 80. It was like 89. I would say it was 80 or 90, like $100, basically, when it was all said and done. I don't think it's over for Artist Shark. I think the community, and I respect Artist Shark. He has another checklist of his own that I respect and is much faster than mine because mine is very graphics intensive. It's not over for Artist Shark yet. I don't think. I think there's different practices he can do, but I'll save that for another stream. I'm still appreciate Artist Shark coming on our stream, so hopefully he can get that resolved still. Yep. I had premium. I hooked a lot of people up with Serpentor. If you're gonna get Serpentor, I think you still need the Air Chariot, Salinas. I'm just gonna say that. Yeah. All right. Good. Yeah. Don't pay those prices. That's not cool. All right. Once again, I know I'm kind of blasting through this because I didn't talk about toy hunting the Alley Viper in the back. I could have told you my stories about how many Sergeant Stalkers I have. Blue Ninjas, the reuse, right? Why reuse is important and the value in it. So just seeing that color swap on the Red Ninja and that Akiko mold, that was great, right? Sergeant Slaughter. Still one of my favorites in the line. I still love this figure so very much, and I can't wait to get the Mad Marauders. I had the Slaughter's Marauders figure when I was a kid, so I'm gonna get that one. But I'm really glad I got this one too. Super glad. This one on sale, and you remember this one on sale on the outlet. Another one I paid full price for. I'm a sucker. I didn't even talk about how hard it was getting this damn Viper. Shout out to Gridiron. I had the Gridiron set on it. Had to get that. But man, this is a hard game, man. This is hard. This was a hard get. And I was still finding Vipers for friends. I was still sending them, shipping it to them. If they got me back for the shipping, it was only like $5 or $6 at the time. If you ship like first class or parcel ground. So I helped a lot of people out with Viper, but it was tough, man. It was Cobra Island. I'm glad the Cobra Island days so far are done, but it was not easy. But yeah, Big fan of the gridiron still. Whenever I get the chance, I will gridiron my babies up. Oh boy. Never, no need to apologize. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your time, and thank you for joining us. Never late, and also look forward to the replay. I try to make it a good time whether you're watching live or not. Okay, 124 Serpentor, but once again, holler at folks. Like holler at your buddies. You may be able to get a deal. I know there's people that are so late to the line, but you shouldn't have to pay that for that. Oh, the collector. Thank you very much. Thanks for joining. Slaughter's hat. If you either use a hairdryer or mounting putty sticky tack helps out a lot. Do I have any extra? I don't have any extra to show you right now, but sticky tack and mounting putty helps out a lot when you have glasses or hats, that kind of stuff. Helmets that won't stay on. That's a big help. All right. So, thoughts on you asked. I will answer. So really quick, I'm just going to really pause. I love the fact that the treads move. Let's stop by our good friends over at Gridiron. This will be like a commercial break. They're great. They're great. Save up some money. Check them out. If you just need the lower piece, I have some of the auto cannons already. So if you just want the lower greens, you can get the treads. You can get the treads for about $30. So you can still save some money on these. And then you already have the auto cannons. You can hook them up. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Otherwise, oh man, that is tempting. That is so tempting. Oh boy. Oh yeah, and you still have the impacts. Like you could have made a snowmobile out of these. So if you don't have the treads, you don't already have the auto cannons, or you don't have the impact drones from earlier, it's great that these are back, and it's awesome that these can move. That's insane. Like they're just getting better and better. I believe the other drones are static treads, but they got the look, so they still look cool. But the belt looks great. I just got mine in the mail. I don't have them open in time to show you fine folks, but that's awesome that the treads move. If you got the Arctic bats, if you have snow serpents, if you have snow job, it's just a fun time. Put that stuff together. Let's see them online. Let's go ahead and see some stuff on Instagram. But worth every penny. $60 for the autocannon and the dreads. $30 from the base themselves, and they move now. That's insane. How did y'all do that? That's crazy. So I'm getting them. Definitely gonna get all three of those dreads. I'll get the green ones, the black ones, and the white ones. And I don't have the white autocannon, so I think I'm just gonna get that whole set. So that's 120. This is why I'm not at Joe. This is why I'm not at Joe Fest right now. Because instead of getting a hotel room and booking a flight and showing up, I just get this stuff instead. So next year, I'm going to go ahead and start putting money aside very quickly. People say that. I'm not exactly sure. I don't think so. I didn't notice it being cheaper or man, that's harsh, but you're not wrong. Sometimes it's easier to make money than friends. Conjuesos, thank you very much. That's really nice of you to say. Viper Scout says, I got a Viper on the third release. Yeah, okay. Yeah, holler at your friends. Holler at your people. Yeah, Jody says sold his entire collection, classified ever since. Got in right when everybody thought the line was going to die. Man, people need to cut that stuff out. I remember being on the but still managed to pick up some figs. Congrats. I agree, Brian King. Somehow, some way, let's get them all. I'm a completionist. I am not encouraging completionism out there, and that's fine. That's fine. It's not for everybody. If you're not seeing the value in that, or if you're not playing with your figures like that, and you're just good enough with the Hasbro releases, then that's fine. That's totally fine. I like gifting people gridiron stuff. I was about to sell my Hiss too. I'm really glad I didn't. And that impact is going to go great along with it. Yes, the Alpine loadout, the airborne loadout. And thank you for being real with us and sharing with us in the chat as well. You're welcome here. Thank you for showing courtesy to one another, respect for one another. I really appreciate that. And that's one of the things I love about this community. I love about the fellowship and togetherness. I really do appreciate it. But listen, we went ahead and we talked in deep about Serpentor, about VI, and everything else. So yes, it was a long wait for figs, but that winter we started getting figs, and then we started getting more figs. So now I want to talk about the flood. We gotta talk about this stuff, man. It was raining figs. It was raining Joes. It was pretty intense. We're an hour and a half in. Thank you so much. So right now we're gonna get right to that in just a second. But for now, please enjoy this commercial break.
Coming up next on Channel 11, Gem.
Imagine this!
Deep in the jungle, you discover it, the Cobra Terradrome with gun emplacements almost everywhere and special base for refueling vehicles.
There it is!
The Cobra Terradrome is really incredible.
That's Dr. Mindbender! And now, look! They've captured Flynn!
It's time to warn the Joes, but suddenly they launch the Firebat. American hero! Live the adventure of G.I. Joe. Cobra Terradrome comes with Firebat and pilot. Other figures and equipment sold separately.
Joe! Joe!
All right, and we're back. Thank you for staying with us. Yeah, we gotta talk about this because it was pretty intense. About half of the line, as it stands right now, came out in 1 year. 2023 released more figures than the first 3 years combined. So, once again, for reference, this is the checklist as it stands, right? So you see this slide. This first slide here is about the first 3 years of classified series from 2020 to the end of 2022, Christmas 2022, right? This is essentially 2023 with the last couple of rows on the right being from 2024. So about a little bit more than half of the line came out in 1 year. Like, it was pretty crazy. So once again, this is year one. This is year two, right? Scant days. This is year three. And this is year four. It was, yeah, we spent a lot. So, yes, I had to take a little bit of a bathroom break. I had a little bit of my flood on the own. But yeah, it was classified scale Terradrome been like crazy. I think we can do it in quarters, maybe even halves. But I think a quarter classified scale Terradrome, I get that. I totally get that. Yeah, the Firebat did come with it. Yes, it did. A $600 HasLab. Look, man, like I'm a big fan of Star Wars, and you don't know how much stuff can cost. All right. So I'm only going to do this once, and I don't want to say like one fandom is different than the other, but it's basically, what are you willing to spend money on? So really quick, let me go ahead and show this off. And thank you for staying with us. I'm going to make this really quick. So let me hide that, and then I'll come back to that because some of you guys are hilarious. Yeah, I had to take the piss take first. And yeah, my wallet hated 2023 too. Kaiju Daddy, thank you for checking us out, man. And hopefully you're having a great time with us. Thank you very much. I'm going to show you guys something really quick, and then we're going to get back to the flood. I promise. So here is the Star Wars Imperial Star Destroyer. Right now, it's going for $1,550. Somebody, I don't know who, but somebody is willing to pay $1,550 for this Star Destroyer. And you didn't have to. Like, you could have gotten this for about $550, right? Like are we really how much you want to go? Here's a Star Wars AT-AT, $849.99. It depends, and it's not about being a bigger fan than the other, right? Here's the Millennium Falcon Ultimate Collector's Series, $840. Fans are buying these. I'm friends with these fans. They're hanging them up on their ceilings. They have them in glass cases. They have them on their tables. I would save my money. I wouldn't buy a damn thing else. And if Hasbro made something related to G.I. Joe that was worth $550, $850, I'd think about it. I would really think about it. What would you get for $850? Here's the thing. We're fans, right? Because this is everything right here. This is more than $850. This is a very expensive slide. Each one of these figures, a base figure, retails for $24.99. And that's not talking about 2-packs. That's not talking about exclusives. That's not talking about packaging. That's not talking about the 3-packs. That's not talking about the HasLab and everything else that comes with it. You get what you pay for. You get what you pay for. All right? Cobra Mothership. How much would you pay for a classified Cobra Mothership? The Joe headquarters, the pit. How much would you pay for a classified scale pit? Yeah. These are, the PC, like the pins, like, or your sneakers. How much would you pay for a pair of the year 1 Jordans? Right? Yeah. No spoilers for Acolyte. Pretty please. 375 scale. I would get a 375 scale HasLab Terradrone. We did it for the Sky Striker. I would get the Terradrone at 375. I would get if not, we're not going to get the flag, but I would get a classified flag control tower. I would even get the flag control tower just at 375, just as a playset. That if it came with the figures. Yeah. So it just depends. And Legos, they don't go down in value. I'm saving up right now for the Sesame Street Lego set. I should have bought it at retail. Now I'm going to have to pay extra, but I got to have it. I love Sesame Street and I love Lego, so I'm getting it. 500, 600 for a Rolling Thunder or Thunderclap. Yeah. Yeah, and it depends on the community. Like, there's a world where, I'm not even going to pull up how much those Jordans cost, Mr. Madgus. There's a world out there where the HasLab didn't fund. There's a world out there where the His Tank meets the same fate as Engine of Vengeance, where we don't get Dragonfly, where we don't get whatever the third HasLab is going to be. People are saying Cobra Rattler, but it could easily be anything else. It could be the Mobat. We know that Ramen Toys is making a tank, right? Hell, it could be the Bridge Layer. I don't know. Shit. But there's a world where the community does not get behind this stuff. And if the community doesn't invest in the brand, in the IP, in the universe, in the storytelling of these characters that we know and love for so long, then it's not going to happen. So you're not going to get that Swamp Skier, because we may still get it down the line. We may not get the Pack Rats, because Hasbro may still do their own Pack Rats. They may still do their own Cobra Bunker. They may still do Surveillance Port, Checkpoint Alpha. They may still do playsets, the Bivouac. They may still do that stuff. We may still get Cobra Fang on the shelves, getting a Skyhawk. I'm still probably going to get that Fans Hobby Skyhawk. I do not want to pay $55 shipping, but I got to have that Skyhawk. I got to have it. So it just depends. And it doesn't mean that I'm a bigger fan or a better fan. That's just what I'm willing to invest in the brand because I love it. I love this stuff. I love this stuff. I love it. Absolutely love it. I'm getting ahead of myself, but I didn't think I was going to be spending like 2 hours already. Like I'm only just now getting to the flood. So yes, it was hard. And yes, it was a lot of toys. It was a lot of toys. Keith is saying that he'll max out 700 on Terradrome on the headquarters. Will pay $1,000 for a flag, which never say never. I got laughed out of Facebook groups for bringing up a classified flag. Just even the control tower. But use your imagination. And incorporate cardboard. It doesn't all have to be plastic. It doesn't all have to be resin. Just as long as it has the pieces for the interplay, like just bases and whatnot, and then you have the backing for photos. Like that's what that Supreme set's back there. I use that for photos. I'm shooting videos right now to put them onto liking his YouTube. All right. It could be the Rattler. Who knows? I mean, we saw the Cobra Air Force thing on B-Mac's shirt, but who knows? I don't know. Classified Mauler in heavy metal. Yeah. What is it that cross country drives? The Havoc, right? Frostbite and the Snowcat. What are you willing to pay? Do you want this stuff? If we don't get this stuff, we're not going to have classified series, and maybe that's fine. Maybe it's not meant to go into year 7, year 8. Maybe it's not meant to go into year 10. Maybe classified series isn't meant to outlast Real American Hero on toy shelves. It's a different time. If we have Lego collectors who are willing to spend $1,550 on a Lego Star Destroyer, but we don't have the Joe fans willing to do that for the Flag or Rolling Thunder or Terradrome, it won't happen. We will see a Joe HasLab fail. I don't want to see it, but we will, because the Joe fans, they're not going to do it. Yeah, exactly. You used to be able to subscribe to some of this stuff. Hot Toys. People get Hot Toys because they have them on layaway. They have payment plans for Hot Toys. There's people out there, they have like a 1/6 scale Batmobile, the 1989 Batmobile, the Christopher Nolan Batmobile. It just depends. I want playsets so bad. Liquid Identity. Yes, the Pogo doesn't need to spend $300. They need to be smart. I don't want to spend $200 on a Cobra Fang. I don't want a $200 Skyhawk. The only reason I would buy a $200 Skyhawk from Fans Hobby is because they're the only ones that have one right now. Yeah, the Night Raven. What would you spend on a classified Night Raven? That's 2 jets. I still have my old Night Raven back at my dad's house. All in, me too. Toyomic says, I was offered a 1/2 scale, a 1/12 scale 3D printed Rattler, super huge and fragile. If it was done right, I'm all in. I passed on a 3D print. Lots of works to fix. And Toyomic knows his stuff. Once again, congrats on 100 subs, dude. Yes, I love it too. I love my marriage more. I believe it. Stages, right? Are we going to do subscriptions? Are we going to do that stuff? Shozi Store has it, and it shouldn't be too bad for it. Kim, thank you for letting me know. Thank you for letting me know. Kaiju Daddy says even an outpost rather than the headquarters should be made. Josie and Gathering Point. Yes, I agree. And extreme sets. Extreme sets will have to do for right now. Yes, Havoc would be amazing. Hasbro has been let down by the fans before. Joes have seen dark periods before where people didn't buy the toys. Sigma 6, G.I. Joe Extreme. The brand was so low. Those G.I. Joe Extreme figures have like 3 points of articulation. Dark times. I remember. I was there for those. Renegades. Some people like Renegades, and a lot of people didn't. Renegades even had a comic book. No one got the comic book. Did anyone get the Saturday morning comic book they had a couple of years ago before Skybound? That's why I'm trying to get people to read Skybound, read Inner Giant Universe, read all that stuff. No spoilers. I want you to read it fresh. It's amazing. It's such a great time to be a G.I. Joe fan, a Transformers fan. You can say a Hasbro fan or not, but it's a good time right now. The figures are better than ever. The figures are better than ever. I don't know why Alpine didn't have his backpack. I get Gridiron. It's not a problem for me. Alpine should have his backpack. More on that later. I love it. It's not even a love-hate relationship. I want the best. I want the best for classified series. Yeah, it just depends. But they've seen dark days, right? The lackluster response to Rise of Cobra, to G.I. Joe Retaliation, people not buying the figs, people not buying Mouse or Roadblock or Lady J or Flint or whatever, right? Warren Ellis, unfortunately, is persona non grata. He has work to take care of. He needs to work on himself before he does anything else. The Flood. If you weren't careful, you could have ended up broke just because so much stuff was coming out. But we wanted these figures for such a long time. Like we were waiting on these toys. We Shipwreck, Rock and Roll, Torpedo. It goes on and on and on. And I get it. I get it. You can't get everything. You can't get everything under the sun. I trust me, I know. And it was irritating because it wasn't for lack of trying. We all wanted this stuff. And just really quickly, I want to just talk about like some of my favorites here. I want to talk about Cobra Valkyries, Scrap Iron, Snowjaw. Like these stuff are just classics, and you can still get them. They were on Outlet. They were on Power Pulse. Some of this stuff is still on sale. But the point is, there's a reason why it's still this good. And it's tricky. It's difficult. I know, because you can get this stuff now. But if you're not careful, it's going to add up. $100, $500, $1,000. That's what I'm saying when it comes to that Lego set. It's like Star Wars, Hot Toys, Marvel, DC, He-Man, Mondo toys. You get what you pay for. And if you can't get it, there's no shame in that. But this stuff was fantastic. These were on sale, and then they went even further in sale. They're full price now. So hopefully you got them when you had the chance. But this stuff is fantastic. You guys know this. This is why I'm going to save a lot of time, because you guys already know how good this stuff is. You can go to Gridiron and get accessories, backpacks, munitions, props, cigars from the smoke. You can get like the actual virus vials from The Rock. I love Gridiron. I love Gridiron so much. I can't wait to show off what I just got in, the autocannons. And I still got to finish this other review. But the point is, I love this figure so much. This is like one of my top 10 from last year. Even though those flame effects are so annoying, they're so dumb. The colors should be reversed, but whatever, I don't care. Still a great value. If you know where to look, you can still get this on clearance at Walmart or Target or Ross. People were finding these at Rosscom. Like, it was for real. So the love is there. And it was an amazing time. But yes, you got to be careful, because if you're not, you can end up financially despondent, destitute. You don't want that. So be choosy when it comes to classified. All this stuff hit at once. And there was stuff that I couldn't do. I have friends going to Disneyland, and I couldn't go. My homies at Toy Kind of Mood right now, they're in Joe Fest right now. I'm not at Joe Fest. And thanks in part to some of this stuff. It's the truth. I have bills to pay, student loans to pay back, rent to pay, but I was still collecting this stuff. And it makes me wonder, where would I be if I wasn't collecting JoJo classified series? Would I be happier? Would I be happier? I'm pretty happy now. I don't have regrets. I love this stuff. I've loved this stuff ever since I was a kid. You guys don't know this about me. I am part Cherokee, part Blackfoot. Cherokee on my dad's side, Blackfoot on my mom's side. My mom, God rest her soul, she would say, "We's Nigra." I'm like, yep, pretty much. But I'm still proud of my native roots. So it's great to have a Roadblock. It's great to have Alpine. It's great to have Doc. But it's great to have this one too. I had black heroes as a kid, thanks to G.I. Joe. But I also had native heroes who serve still to this day. We have Native Americans in the armed forces. And I'm grateful for their service. And so figures like these, it's not just an action figure. It's not just a token from childhood. It's more than that. It's deeper than that. And that's why I'm collecting G.I. Joe. And that's why I love this stuff. It's important to me. And I appreciate it very much. And I'm still a big fan. And they're better than ever. And I'm still in. So it's deeper than that. So you just got to be careful. You got to be careful when you're doing this stuff. Because if you love it, sustain yourself. Sustain your collecting. You don't have to get everything right now. I didn't get Mutton Junkyard. Hold on a second. I didn't get Mutton Junkyard until just a couple of days ago. Because it was still part of that Pulse Power Days sale. 35 off? Sure, let's go ahead and grab it. Let's go ahead and add it to the collection. But I was picky. I missed out. This thing was even cheaper on clearance. This sucker went as low as $19.99, $20 at Target. I was paying bills, paying back student loans, paying back rent. So I didn't get it at clearance. right? So I paid more, even off with 35% off. I paid more than its lowest price. But that's fine because I still wanted it. Look at this junkyard. I had to get this. You know I had to get junkyard. You know I had to get that, right? That's gonna be fun. I can't wait to open that up. You don't have to get everything. You don't have to be a completionist. And you don't have to put yourself through financial stress and economic pain just so you can say that you're a Joe fan. You're still a Joe fan. You're still a Joe fan even if you're not buying Joes. You're still a G.I. Joe fan even if you just love watching the streams with your loved ones on YouTube. Going out to the theater and celebrating G.I. Joe the movie, celebrating the Transformers episodes with the voice cast. You're still a fan. You don't have to buy everything under the sun to prove your fandom. That's not what makes a fan. Just because you saw every episode of Sigma 6 and Renegades, that doesn't make you a better fan than someone else or a truer fan. Whether you have all the shirts or whether you have G.I. Joe chewing gum that you just haven't opened up. That's what the spirit of Joe Fest is about. I should have went to Joe Fest, and I should have just bought all this other stuff later. Shout out to the Mezco Joes, the 3-0 Joes, the Sideshow Collectible Joes, Super 7. I know some people hate the shit out of Super 7, but shout out to those dudes too. You don't have to troop build 800 in every figure to prove that you're a Joe fan. And if it's a flood, that just means it's options. That's just mean that it's options. And you can get it or not. You may have to go to eBay. You may have to make some friends. You may have to make some deals. But you can still get this stuff. Or not. You can skip it. It doesn't make you a truer fan or a lesser fan. So that's why we can't always just gatekeep. Unless they're just assholes that wants to ruin everyone's fun. Fuck them. Just remember, and it's not just about nostalgia. This is active fandom. Putting together your dioramas. Taking those photos, putting them on Instagram, putting them on Facebook, sharing with the community. That's what it's about. So once again, if you're at Joe Fest, even to the people at DFW in Dallas-Fort Worth, have fun. Make it fun. Have a great time. Meet people face-to-face for the first time. Enjoy it. Buy your friends a brew. Buy some figs. Buy some classic figs, some vintage figs, man. I would love to get a mint condition Arctic Stalker with the kayak. Man, whatever. I would put money on that. But we have to leave room in the community. That's why it's important to push out bad actors. People who would rather slander our memories of the Joes. People who would say, this person's a fake fan. This person's a fan, blah, blah, blah. These toys are ugly, blah, 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 blah. Well, then don't fucking buy them, motherfucker. I'm having fun. You don't have to ruin my fun. I wouldn't ruin anyone else's. If you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong. And you don't have to spin yourself into bankruptcy to have fun. Be choosy. Be picky. Yes, the shipping shortages. Yes, repaint city. I can talk about how Yojo June was nothing but repaints. That Sarge is a repaint. That Spirit is a repaint. That Low Light, that's repaint. The damn Stinger is a repaint. It is a remold. But it's a legacy remold because people had that Stinger and people had that Sarge. I had that Sarge. People had Slaughter's Marauders. Now Mad Marauders, right? But it's fun. It's fun. And I'm going to get them, and that doesn't mean that you have to get them or anyone else has to get them. So that's not what I meant. Come on, dude. Come on. Be nice. Be nice. Let me holler at the chat real quick, and then we're going to move on past year 4. Shout out to 𝐁𝐥𝐚𝐜𝐤 �KJ. Oh, thank you very much, man. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I'm glad. I hope you all are having a good time right now. Skybound. Jason Ness says, now that Skybound is rolling, I think there's going to be a lot more synergy. Yes. Yes. And like the designs, they stick to them in the comics. They really do. Jody Faust wants to see Resolute designs and classified. Yeah. 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 And I would like to see someone else handle Resolute. You know, shout out to X-Men 97. If we can get a Resolute or Joe's like that. Anyway, good for him. I'm glad he's still getting work. Madgus says, if I was a Transformer guy, I would have the money for the RoboSyn self-transforming robots. Don't get me started on that. That's awesome. That would be great. That would be awesome. I would love to do that. I agree. Yeah, don't break your balls. Yeah, and once again, shout out to everyone in the chat. and this is a welcome spot. You're welcome to chat with us, right? I'm not going to get too deep on y'all, but once again, it's a great community. Feel free to talk with us and whatnot. Jamilian. Am I saying that right? I hope I'm saying that. Jamilian, right? Let me know if I'm saying that right. Please don't do the math. Yeah, man, don't add it up. Don't add it up. And hopefully I didn't butcher your name. I apologize if I did. That's my bad. Funko Pops, man. I was on Funko Pops. I really was. Liquid Identity says cost and quality is why I'm being more selective about classified. That's good. That's good. And you had to cancel? You had to cancel? Go ahead and cancel. Nostalgia is a hell of a drug. Rest in peace, Rick James. Yeah, you have to sell stuff. You got to get rid of stuff. Figure 6-pack saying relegated only to the sub teams. Gold cold turkey. I had to go cold turkey so many times. Yeah. Get what you can. Shout out to DJ 5 Ash. You don't need to spend all this money like Jason S was saying. Shout out to Jason Atreides. Atreides! Yeah, you know what? We may get Pursuit of Cobra. We may still get the OG 13 as part of like a special subline. Yeah, okay. That's very fair. It's very fair. They're pulling from everywhere. Lenny said so. Everything is on the table. Todd C, thanks, man. I appreciate you. Thank you for sending good finds. You know what? Have fun rearranging that shelf. I have to build a new toy shelf. I have an IKEA shelf I need to rebuild. Jason says, if Hasbro is smart, they'll do Lifeline as a deluxe, include extra medical gear. Well, look, man, you can get that extra medical gear from Gridiron Props. Go to Gridiron Props and check out their medic set. It's pretty amazing. Thanks to you. Okay, Jamilin, thank you. Got it. Appreciate you. Thank you very much. Renard Brown says, because when it first came out, I could not find it. Wanted it that bad. Yeah. Shout out to Sigma 6 Cobra Commander. The IDW Cobra Commander with the all chrome dome and whatnot. That would be pretty sick too. Craig. IDW Craig would be pretty dope too. And I was going to talk about the Dragonfly. Y'all know the Dragonfly. Y'all know the deal with the Dragonfly. People were bitching about Glinda. I told them to cut that shit out. Glinda's going to be fine. The face sculpt is kind of whatever. I still like it. Yeah, people need to chill. You already know about Dragonfly. You saw the unboxing video. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to skip because this is taking a really long time. Sorry about that. All right. Present day. Listen, the windows came back. I missed the box art. I think, honestly, they should have brought the box art back because there was just more personality to it. But people wanted the windows. So we got the windows back. So now you don't get the fig swapping like we were getting. I know the fig swapping was a problem. It was a big problem. But hopefully they'll still keep the box art for the vehicles, and they'll still keep the art for the Pulse exclusives, where fig swapping is less of a problem. People aren't really sending a lot of stuff returns to Hasbro Pulse. That's not how that works, right? Skybound is doing fantastic. But once again, I got to show love to my Toy Kind of Mood dudes. So let me go ahead and pull up the amazing interview they did with Toy Kind of Mood. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Holy crap. I used to be so much faster at this. But once again, they were able to do an interview with the Joe team. So check that out. And don't forget to also check out the Fallout afterwards. So really quick, hold on a second. Goodness. They do a lot of reviews. This is why it took me so long to find it. But once again, shout out to the homies Zen. Shout out to David Speck, Toy Optics. Shout out to Bobby Behar, of course. And also shout out to the homies Tony's Figs and Travis Moody. This was a great interview. So if you haven't seen it yet, please check it out. G.I. Joe brand team interview. A lot of fun. And also, don't forget to check out the Fallout episode. That was a lot of fun as well. And that was a live stream. So you just search Joe Team or G.I. Joe interview. You'll be able to find that as well. Really fun stuff. Hold on a second. All right, there it is. So that was episode 169. And that was the follow-up to the Joe interview. So that was fun. Once again, check that out. Hey, once again, shout out to Mr. Madgus. Man, you've been rolling with us for a while, man. I appreciate you. And I love rocking with these guys, man. They know their stuff, and they are the real deal. I haven't been able to be on as much as I would like just because of other concerns and just other things. But They're going to have a great time at Joe Fest. If you're at Joe Fest, say hi to these guys for me. Have a great time. Really enjoy yourselves. And they're still giving me a shout out. They don't ever have to shout me out. Whenever cats shout me out, I really appreciate that. I really do. I really do. But once again, it's an exciting time for the brand. It's an exciting time to be a fan of classified series. And I think that even with the windows coming back, where we can see these figs. Oh, man, shout out to Mr. McFly. Hey, man, thank you very much. Thanks for rocking with us. Sixth Element of Hip Hop. What's up, man? Oh, Chaz is in. What's up, Chaz? Yeah, man. Okay, so the figure people still have the figure window still has fans, so this is right on cue. But yeah, you'll be able to see things. The boxes are smaller, so that means they can fit more in cases, and it's going to be cheaper, right? But I really miss that box art. You just can't have that in the back, right? And shout out to the new crops of the retro card backs as well. Much firmer cardboard they're using in having those file cards, bringing that stuff back on the back. These it's going to be a longer wait for these, but it'll be worth it, right? So they're in good hands, and it's a good time to be a fan. Yes, lots of repaints. Roadblock is a repaint. Tripwire is a repaint. Shockwave is a repaint. The Ram Cycle is a repaint. I get it. It's not for everyone. Yes, we got the Ferret. Awesome. Amazing. But we got Wreckage. Wreckage was a legacy repaint. We've had Wreckage before. I had to talk about it on my Instagram on Black Genghis IG. But that Tiger Paw, we wanted the Tiger Paw. You know it's a repaint, right? So reuse is part of the line. It lengthens the line. It really does. Shout out to Legend Series. Thanks for rocking with us, man. Yes, the HasLab. People are saying it's the Rattler. What else? And I'm good with the Rattler. I'll take the Rattler if that's what it is, but that's unconfirmed. What else do you think it could be? What is there a preference? Would you prefer something other than the Rattler, right? Because once again, you don't get to 60th anniversary G.I. Joe as a brand all the way back to the 12-inch days, all the way back. Action, Adventure Team. We see overseas, Palatoy, Plastorama, right? Commandos Hirokos, Action Force, Z-Force, right? You don't get to 60 years. You don't get to 60 years without making the right choices, without knowing what to reuse, knowing what to remold, right? With that Naga hide, that Naga hide is basically gung-ho with a face sculpt and some animal buddies, right? Are you going to get it? Is it worth it to you? And if it's not, that's okay. Jason S. I'm excited to see what the new HasLab is going to be. But outside of the HasLab, I'd have to say I'm a bit of a goofball. I want to get that Nemesis Immortal. I want that Cobra Law. I'm going to swap out the wings. I think the wings are too small, but I want that Nemesis Enforcer. I'm going to get everything Cobra Law. That's me. Starduster. I'm going to get Starduster. It's a lot of reuse, but it'll be fun. I have other jump jets too, so it's going to be fun putting those together. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of good stuff, man. There's going to be a lot of good stuff. And Dialtone is going to be classic. There's going to be fun. I'm going to have Dialtone like fixing like phone booths and like connecting like IT. I'm in IT, so Dialtone's just going to be doing a bunch of IT shit. It's going to be great. The Collector prefers the Whale. No, they're great. They're great repaints, and they're the same repaints that they had from back in the day. It's legacy. It's still legacy. This is the longest episode ever. I should have known. Yeah. Figure Six-Pack says they should have packed Tiger Bomb to suit the pain in our wallets. Mobat. Yeah, I think I would have wanted a Mobat, but I think it's going to take time before we get a Mobat. That Mobat is going to be $500, $600. So I don't think the line's there yet. I don't think the fans are willing to spend money like that just yet. I am, but that's not everybody. Or Moray Hydrofoil. Yeah. No, I still say get the Fortnite book because you can still get it pretty cheap. It was at Ross. It was at Ollie's. Get it. It's cheap, and you can put your Cobras on it. You can have a Cobra book. So, I would say get it. I think the HasLab is this over land, sea, and air. It's time for sea to shine, baby. I agree. Naga Hide on sale. I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about canceling Naga Hide. Naga Hide needed some new tooling. I don't like it when Cobras use Joe parts. I don't like that Naga Hide has a Joe knee pad. Maybe he got it off of a big Joe soldier. I don't know. I don't feel like fixing my head lore for that. Yep, 6 element. Yep, definitely customizing the Nemesis wings. I'm going to use those Venom and Null wings. Still hyped for Daltones, so am I. Yep. Blowtorch and Raptor. All right, there's some good ones. Diatonic sitting in a server form. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's Daltone's fate. But once again, you don't get to 60 years of Joe. This brand invented the action figure. This brand is why we call action figures action figures. So once again, let's take a look at what waits beyond. Renard Brown says 100 Cobra Vipers. Man, jealous. And yeah, those Null wings. I may get myself some chicken wings tonight. Anyway, it's an exciting time to be a Joe fan. We saw the Dragonfly unboxing. Great artwork on that box. The figs, Wild Bill, Ripcord, Glinda, Crazy Legs, Nemesis Enforcer, Nemesis Immortal. Like, we're going to get all that stuff. We're going to get even more retro card backs, right? Leatherneck. It's going to be classic. It'll be interesting to see how Frag Viper turns out, how that Once a Man Cobra Commander turns out. It'll be nice to get Heart Wrencher, as long as that Heart Wrencher isn't complete reuse of Zorana. We need to see new tooling. I sorry about that. Footloose. People are going to dig the hell out of Footloose. We need Hit and Run too. We need Footloose and we need Hit and Run as well. We need Hit and Run. Once again, that Starduster and that Raptor, it's going to be a fun time. It is a fun time to be a Joe fan. Get Saw Viper. I'm gonna have Doc shoot the shit out of Saw Viper for revenge. Like, Doc doesn't kill, but it's okay, Doc. I'm gonna get you. You're holler at your friend John Wick. You're gonna borrow his automatic shotgun, and we'll make short work of Saw Viper. It's time for revenge. You can break your vow this one time. And also, the Marine Sniper, that's going to be interesting to see how that turns out. That Halo Jumper, that's going to be really interesting as well. Shout out to Terry Ruin, the Island Viper, formerly Action Media Reviews. The Island Viper, Terry Ruin, who was a guest on Toy Kind of Mood, gave us a sneak peek as what to expect down the line with 60th anniversary as well. Sci-Fi, Frank DeMunio, very nice. Yes, Sci-Fi will be cool. And yes, they're all going to be amazing. They're going to be amazing. The design's going to be amazing. These are the people you want doing this stuff. You know what? I have Airborne right next to me. You know, I keep my favorites very close. I keep them very close. I need them because it's like sometimes it's like a cool totem, like just to stay calm and be like, do it for them. You know, that kind of thing, right? But it's just cool just to have them on my desk. It gives me a good feeling, it gives me good vibes. That's why I do it. Love it. This thing turned out so good. It turned out so great. No, it's mainframe. It'll still be mainframe. Yeah, it's just a really fun time to be a fan. And I'm excited for what's going to be down the line next year in 2025 and beyond. We still have plenty of 2024 to go through. The year's only half over. So we're going to see what this new HasLab is. We got to get the Dragonfly in hand. You're going to be spinning those rotors. We got to find a way to motorize those rotors so they spin on their own. Gun Bunny, I'm going to ask Gun and Bunny for help so you can help me out with this. We got to get those figures in hand. We got to see Wild Bill in the cockpit. Airborne, rappelling down the Dragonfly. That has to happen. Crazy Legs, Ripcord, Glinda. You going to sell Glinda? Come on, bro. It's Black Genghis. I'm Black Genghis, bro. Hold on a second. It's Black Genghis, baby. Yeah. Holler at me. I try, man. I try my best. I try to keep it fun, and I am very proud of the checklist. I'm a keeper of the checklist online, so definitely check me out on Instagram. Check out the checklist. Like, you will not be disappointed. I guarantee it. And I'm going to have to update some updates soon. I got to find a place to put the HasLab Dragonfly in the different tiers. But I'm always posting stuff, and not just the Joes. I got love for Marvel, DC. I got love for the Transformers. You name it. They call me Black Genghis for a reason, because I am the Genghis Khan of this shit. and I collect all these brands under one golden tent. Black Genghis, Instagram.com/Black Genghis. Moving on. So once again, we got a lot to look forward to. And yeah, they need to do heavy duty proper, even though Cobra Island Roadblock was heavy duty for a lot of people. Frank, I appreciate you too. Thank you very much. Yeah, that Wild Bill, I can't wait to get that Wild Bill in hand. The Kurt Russell face sculpt is going to be amazing. We're going to get Iron Grenadiers Destro. We're going to get Iron Grenadier Troopers. It's going to be awesome. Don't let it give you anxiety, man. You don't have to get everything. You don't have to get everything all at once. You don't have to get everything. Just get the stuff that you like. It's a good time. We're in good hands. It is nice and solid. It's going to be great. It really is. Well, we're going to get retro. We're going to get a closer retro style Iron Grenadier, and it's going to fly off the shelves like that. It's going to be crazy. Thanks, man. Yeah, let's talk. It's going to be a lot of fun. Listen, it's just a great time. If you haven't seen the unboxing for the Dragonfly, be sure to go to Hasbro Pulse YouTube. Check that out. Take a look at those figs. It's great. I may just watch this again and just pretend I have them in my hands and not look down and just be like, yep, these are the figures. No jokes. Anyway, this Nemesis Immortal, Nemesis Enforcer. I'm gonna call him Nemesis Enforcer. I don't know about you. That's Nemesis Enforcer. I don't get why they couldn't just do that. I don't get it, but whatever. But I'm getting it. And of course, Skybound, just doing a fantastic job, a fantastic work. No spoilers, but also they resume the Larry Hama series, American Hero, Real American Hero on Image. So check that out as well. You can collect the trades, catch up. If you're not getting the Skybound compendium of the original Marvel run and everything else, save some money up. You may still be able to make it happen. You know what? I think you should try to make it happen for real. I'm a humongous Macross fan. I love Robotech. I love Macross. I love that stuff. Immortal better than Enforcer, huh? Oh, well. Blah, blah. Hey, yeah, man. Thank you very much. Thanks for joining us. I hope you enjoy the rest of the show. Yeah, Skybound is pretty awesome. Nemesis Enforcer, yeah. No, I don't think so. I'm going to customize those wings, man. I'm customizing them. But anyway, once again, fantastic work out of the Skybound Energon universe. Pick up the trades. You can pick up Duke in trades, Transformers in trades, Void Rivals in trades. Pick up all that good stuff. Get caught up. It's worth it. And once again, if you're not reading Transformers or G.I. Joe or Energon, you're missing out. It is incredible artwork. It's an incredible time. These are the figures, the characters and the stories we know and love, but expertly updated, just like Classified Series was, just like War for Cybertron and Legacy United are. Check it all out. You will not be disappointed. It's just a great time. And I think, honestly, you're going to enjoy what you see. Folks, that was the history of G.I. Joe Classified Series. Abridged. But if you like what you saw, please leave a like, subscribe, share it with your friends, post it in your group chats. Be like, check out Black Genghis. This dude's awesome. He's hilarious. You know what? I think we're going to see some Skybound action figures. I think we're going to see Skybound Transformers. There probably will be non-transforming, though, but then the cartoon style, we'll see. Yes, I agree with Six Element of Hip Hop. If you're not reading these, you're not doing comics right. I'm going to find you, dude. I'm going to give you a follow. I'm going to check out some of your stuff. And yes, Golden Arms, the Skybound comics have been awesome. Folks, thank you. Thank you so much for giving me so much of your time, especially on the eve of Joe Fest. 2.5 hours. This is the longest episode to date. Thank you very much, Atreides. Love your work in Arrakis. Keep up the good work. DJ 5 Ash, thanks, dude. Really appreciate you. Yeah. No, they're close. But there's still tweaks. That Mercer is going to be just as big as Nemesis Immortal. Jason S., thank you so much, man. I appreciate y'all. And to everyone else, if you're going to Joe Fest, if you know people that are going to Joe Fest, holler at them, wish them a good time. Be nice. Maybe they'll hook you up with some stuff, some swag they find at the show. But to everyone else at Joe Fest, have a great time. Enjoy yourselves. Everybody, Contuesos, thank you so much. Six Element, thank you so much. Man, I don't know if I could do 3 hours. I could probably do 3 hours and 23 minutes, but I had to cap it off right there. It's a great time to be a fan. It's a great time enjoy your figs, whether they're the new updates, whether they're the old school wave ones that no one likes talking about, no one likes, or even if you're keeping up with the latest and the greatest. Ooh, it's a really good time. I may have to get a gridiron backpack with this one. I still like this one. It's the same backpack. But it's still a lot of fun. Folks, enjoy your figs. Enjoy your Joes. Be excellent to one another. Enjoy yourselves. And until next time, man, you're right. I probably could have done another hour on the figures we haven't gotten. I'll keep that in mind. Oh, silly me. I almost forgot. Before we go, the next episode of Black English Live will be pre-recorded, and it's going to be some very special guests that I've been looking forward to talking with for a long time. I've been a fan of their work, and I think you are probably fans of their works too. So I will be joined 2 weeks from now, on the 4th of July. That's when the stream will be. I will be joined by none other than 𝐁𝐥𝐚𝐜 𝐤𝐵𝐄 and Fred Action of 2D Sculpts, also of Boss Fight Toys. So those will be my guests 2 weeks from now on the 4th of July. I can't think of two better guests. These people are the reason you guys are collecting action figures like this. They are super passionate. They are super skilled. I cannot believe they're going to be on the channel. I am super stoked. And on the 4th of July, you will be able to see it. And until then, once again, peace and love. Thank you all very much. Or where is it? Found it.